What do Apes, the Statue of Liberty, and Tim Burton all have in common? Why, a badly used Wilhelm Scream, of course. Tim Burton is one of those directors you either love or love to hate. His overly gothic style has been a staple since his introduction in the late 80s. I personally call Tim the gothic art student, because it's what he does best. But sometimes it's what he does worst. Tim Burton blasted onto the scene with his first major film, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and from then on he's been directing films ever since. While I have nothing to say about his earlier work, I have a mountain of things to say about his newer, more overly gothic work. My eyes can only take so many surreal landscapes and overly gothic prickly stalks than any other gothic kid who no one understands. Tim Burton during 2001 jumped on the remake wagon to grab one of the most iconic sci-fi series of the late 60s. Now, to be fair, this isn't Tim's fault. In all truth, it's the production company's fault. Tim was just trying to be faithful as possible to the original material, but Fox kept getting in the way. So much so that one day, Tim actually left the set in a giant rage. "You're tearing me apart, Fox!"
You find this amusing? No, sir.
But let's get to the Wilhelm Scream. Now, one thing I didn't mention is that the iconic Wilhelm Scream isn't just one scream. It's actually a series of screams in an audio clip. And what we usually hear is number 4. These two are also heard. And they are also considered the Wilhelm Scream because they come from the same audio clip. Planet of the Apes utilizes actually 2 of the 4 clips of the Wilhelm Scream, all grouped around the same action sequence during the end. Now, the reason I chose to tackle this one was solely based on the choice of the placement of the Wilhelm from the clips. In all seriousness, the placement isn't that bad compared to others, but it still seems, I don't know, a little off, overplayed at sometimes. I'm sorry, but being suplexed above someone's head does not really call for a Wilhelm like it used to. It's really quite comical, and it takes me out of the action. In fact, the rest of the Wilhelms in this film are kind of placed weirdly too. At one point, a guy gets stabbed by a helmet. And I don't know about you, but if I was getting stabbed by a helmet, it would not be the first sound out of my mouth.
Finish your work.
While I get what the editor was trying to do, keep the Wilhelm myth alive, I feel his placement might have been off by a few scenes and seconds. The criteria of a Wilhelm is that of a comedic event that is caused by an over-the-top action, while also giving a subtle nod to anyone who gets the inside joke. Just placing it over the scene does not help the cause too much, nor does it show off the talent of the editor. It's almost a lazy man's out in this case. I've been working on this scene all night, and the damn actors won't scream correctly. Well, why don't you just put in one of those Wilhelm screams there? You're right. While I've seen the Wilhelms used a lot of times in films, I'm starting to see a pattern of what's a good Wilhelm and what's a bad Wilhelm, and unfortunately this is a bad Wilhelm. But Tim's not to blame for this one, but rather the lazy editor and sound mixer. While some may disagree with this one, I'm sticking to my guns and saying that this is a lazy Wilhelm moment. Well, I've rambled on again. Tune in next week for... You maniacs! Go. You blew it all up! Damn you, Wilhelm! Damn you, what the hell?
That calls for a Wilhelm Scream! That calls for a Wilhelm Scream! That calls for a Wilhelm Scream! Scream a little louder, gotta make a big scene! That calls for a Wilhelm Scream! That calls for a Wilhelm Scream! That calls for a Wilhelm Scream! Scream it to the heavens so they know what you mean! Over the years, the scream has sounded out in Warner Brothers films for 20 years, and then the aforementioned that created sounds for Star Wars. Take 4 began to show off in movies galore. A stormtrooper stumbled into his shack because Luke shot him. Another was chucked into the freezing chamber.
Planet of the Apes remake? Been there myself.
What? There is another.